Hi everyone, it's Kim Weiss again in my kitchen. This time I'm making kale chips. Now I love kale chips because, first of all, everybody eats them. In fact, they rarely make it to the table. I always think it's going to be the vegetable to accompany an entree. Never makes it to the table. And then I'm thrilled because my husband, my children are eating kale. All right, so we only need a few things for this. We need kale. The Lacento variety of kale is best. We need a little oil of some kind. I'm going to use my lemon extra virgin olive oil because it kind of goes with the other flavors that I'm using. And we're using our calamansi balsamic. These are both from Spirits and Spice. And a little kosher salt. So I like to use a spinner because it helps get all of these little nooks and crannies on the kale dry. So first you rinse all the kale leaf by leaf, and then you're going to cut it. Now I left one for you so you could see how to cut it. So I'm gonna lay it down with the rib exposed. This is the rib. This is the side I'm laying down. And I'm just gonna take a small knife and I'm gonna cut next to the rib on both sides. Essentially, I'm just excising out the rib of the kale. So, and I'm gonna just put that to the side. And then I'm gonna cut the leaf into essentially what are chip-sized pieces. You know, they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be exact. So I've already spun all of this, rinsed and spun all of this kale, but I'm gonna do it one more time now that I've cut it all up. And so into the spinner it goes. I really like to use this Lacento kale. I'm told any kale will work, but when I've tried the other kinds of kale, frankly, I end up with like kale dust. I think there's something about this Lacento kale with all of its little nooks and crannies. Kind of looks like dinosaur skin. I think there's something about that that actually makes it so that it pops up from the oven. So I've already started my oven. I'm using a convection oven for this, but I have it on very low. I have it at 200 degrees, so that's really quite low. Now I'm just gonna take a little bit of the calamansi balsamic and put it in the bottom of my bowl. And when I say a little, I'm like 2 tablespoons. It's really not very much at all. The whole idea is I'm just gonna coat the kale with the calamansi. It does a couple of things when you do this. First of all, the calamansi gives it a brightness. Y'all know I love calamansi. It's my favorite thing. All right, so I'm gonna get in there with my hands and kind of toss it about. I used to do this in a Ziploc bag, but really trying to avoid using plastic, so a bowl will do. I just have to get my hands dirty a little bit, but I'm not using a plastic bag. So I'm just tossing it to kind of make sure that all the little leaves get a little bit of that calamansi on it. They don't have to have it on every single front and back surface. They just have to have a little bit on it. Okay. So I'm gonna take a little of our lemon extra virgin olive oil, again from Spirits and Spice. I'm gonna use a paper towel. Yes, I know I probably could have used something that wasn't disposable, but sometimes you just need to use a paper towel. And I'm really not putting very much oil on this at all. Basically, I'm just rubbing it on the bottom of the baking sheet I'm gonna use for this. Now, we're just gonna take our hopefully well tossed kale chips, and we're just gonna lay it on the cookie sheet in one layer. Now just don't dump it in the middle of the cookie sheet because frankly what we're really doing is we're not so much baking these as we're drying them out, and in order to get them dried out they really kind of need their own space. So we're gonna just put the leaves down there in single layers. These little flat ones, they never turn out. And again, I think it's because they don't have enough like rigidity to stand up from the from the pan in the oven so that the hot, warm air can go around and get it all dried out. All right, so we have a single layer of our calamansi leaves that we're going to turn into calamansi chips. They've just been tossed in a little bit of calamansi. And now we're just gonna put a little bit of kosher salt on this. Now, how much salt you put depends on how much salt you like. I'm a little bit of a salt freak, so I'm gonna use quite a bit. All right, so I'm gonna put these in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're gonna take them out and check them. Some will be ready, some will not. We'll take out the ones that are ready. We'll put the ones that are not back in the oven.